Batra Daf Memhe Amud Aleph, 18 lines down. Mishnah said, Uman in no hazakah. A craftsman doesn't have a hazakah on your item because you can assume that you gave it to him, right? We're going to give the example of a tailor. Tailor has your shirt. So we assume that he didn't buy it from you, but we assume that he's fixing it and therefore he doesn't have a hazakah. Amar Abba says, it only applies when he handed over the item to the craftsman, to the tailor, for example, with witnesses. Since we know that the witness is testifying that you gave it to the craftsman, to the tailor, to fix it. Therefore, he can hazakah. But if you gave it to him without witnesses, because the guy could have lied and he said he has amigo. If you have no edim, no testimony that you gave it to him to fix, technically the guy could just claim that you never gave it to me. And since he has plausible deniability, therefore he should believe to say that I bought it from you, and therefore he can make a hazakah. My Rabbi says, one second, if that's the case, I feel bad, even if there are witnesses there, but also, wait a second, even if you do have witnesses that you gave it to him, let's say to fix. So now the tailor could say, I gave it back to you already. And therefore, if the fact that he's claiming that he bought it from you, he should be believed as well. So how come that doesn't work with witnesses? Rabbi says, "Mi savrat that do we hold like that? No. We say, do we hold that if a person drops off something with someone else in front of witnesses, that you don't have to return it with edim? That's not true. If I give something to you with witnesses, you have to give it back to me with witnesses to ensure that you returned it, so that you can't claim you bought it. So over here as well, regarding the tailor, for example, if I gave it to you with witnesses, you can't claim afterward I bought it from you, or I gave it back to you, and he has an amigo because technically he's supposed to give it back to me in front of witnesses, and therefore there's no amigo. Okay, I have a question. If someone saw his slave working by a tailor or his garment in the laundromat, and the guy says to the craftsman, "Why is my slave or garment by you?" You sold to me, you gave it to me as a present. Doesn't count. He has no proof that it belongs to him, and therefore it goes back to the owner. But he says, in front of me, yani in front of Reuven, you sold it to me or you gave it to him as a gift, then it works. We're going to explain that case. So my Mishnah says, what's the difference between the first case and the last case? In both cases, the guy is claiming that he acquired it. So why does one case believe, one case not? The second case where he believes, where there's a third party involved, and that third party has the item. And he's telling the third party guy, Reuven at the laundromat, Reuven gave the item to the launderer Shimon. Levi now has the item. And Levi is the one who is saying, in front of me, you told Shimon, the laundromat guy, to sell me, the tailor guy, to sell your shirt. And the reason why he's believed is because technically Levi could have said randomly, oh, you sold it to me. And therefore he's believed to say that I bought it from the laundromat who you told to sell it to me. Now, we see, regardless, now that we mentioned this Batra, we're going to develop something. We see Reisha Ra'ah, the first part of the Batra mentioned that the owner saw that the craftsman, the craftsman had the tailor, let's say, had the item. So the witnesses that you have it. Was the case. If there's witnesses who saw me drop it off, why do I need people to testify that you still have it? 98 minutes just bring the witnesses that saw me drop it off and take it back. There's no witnesses. If there's no witnesses of me dropping off, then if I see the item by you, I could grab it back, seemingly. So therefore, it's a question against the Rabba. Rabba holds that if there's no witnesses, you can't grab it back. The Gemara says, there are witnesses. Even though there's witnesses and you see it there, the owner can still grab it back. Because maybe because in order to the reason why is if the item is still by the craftsman, it goes back to the owner. But if the item was not seen by the owner, he's believed to say that he returned it. Now the Gemara says, you said you can't claim that because how can he would have, if the only reason why he loses it because the item is still by the craftsman, but if it's the not there, the owner didn't see it there, the guy can claim that he returned it, but you said that if he dropped it off with witnesses, you have to return it with witnesses. Amar le Rabba says, I retracted from that, I don't hold that anymore. Okay, next. Rabba is a question against Abaye for a proof according to Rabba. And until title Uman, because we're following on with Rabba with an aleph, proving Rabba with a head. Someone gave his garment to a tailor to fix. Now, Uman Omer Shtaim Krasli, the tailor says, you're supposed to pay me $2. The owner says, no, I agree you $1. So what do? We check where it is. If the craftsman still hands it, the proof goes on the owner to prove that it was $1, not $2. But if he gave back the shirt back to the owner already, and therefore he has no migu to say that he bought it, if it's the time to pay the wages, we mentioned this concept before, that during the time to pay the wages, if there's a disagreement on the wages, you can swear and take the correct payment. But once the payment passes, which doesn't usually happen, so now you're trying to gather extra money, he's trying to extract something from the owner, he has to bring a proof. So, what's the case of our brother? It's witnesses that saw me drop off this shirt by the tailor. Let's ask the witnesses what they saw. What was the wages that was agreed upon? Was it $1 or $2? Must be the no witnesses. We see that the craftsman is believed to say that he returned it. The guy could have claimed I bought it from you, therefore believe me on the wages. Yani, I could have just said this belongs to me. So the fact that I'm telling you is $2, not $1, you should believe me. Proof according to Rabba, question against Abayah. Behold, the craftsman is not believed without witnesses. Where it says, there's no witnesses. The item is not seen in the craftsman's possession, and therefore, the only reason why there's no migu is because the guy himself mentioned that he still has it. Once he mentioned he still has it, he shot himself in the foot. He has no more claim of, I could have just said I give it back to you, and therefore he is believed regarding the wages. Our Mishnah said that a craftsman does not have a chazakah. Sounds like a craftsman doesn't have a chazakah but someone else does. What's the case of another person? Let's say Reuven, my neighbor, has my shovel. If there's witnesses that I gave it to him, why is there chazakah if someone solely lends it to him? Must be there's no witnesses. But it sounds like there's no witnesses. There's no chazakah by a craftsman. A question against Rabba that even in a case of no witnesses, there's no chazakah by a craftsman. It's halfulo kelim bebet uman. Let's say I pick up my suit from the tailor. Or dry cleaners. And I pick it up and I notice that they didn't give me back my exact suit, they gave me back a different one. I can use them. Someone else comes and picks it up and says, sorry, that's mine. If you accidentally switched it in the mourner's house or at a party, like a set that you accidentally took someone else's raincoat, you cannot use it until the guy, and you have to wait for the guy to pick it up. My Shnaresh say, why is there a difference? Marab, because I was sitting in front of Rahia, my uncle, it's plausible to say that sometimes the guy will give the suit to the tailor and say, when you fix it, try to sell it as well. So maybe he gave him something that he was supposed to sell, and therefore he had permission to give him this suit that he gave you. Amar of Hiya Bared Nachman, that there's certain ramifications, or parameters rather. Lo Shanu Elahu. That only applies when the craftsman himself gave it to him, because that means he intentionally gave him this other suit, assuming that we're under the assumption that he gave him this suit on purpose because he's supposed to sell it. But if let's say the craftsman's wife or children or workers manning the store and they may not have knowledge, then we can assume that maybe they made a mistake and therefore you cannot use it. But and also you can only use it where the guy says, here's a suit. That's a sign that he's not giving back your suit. But if he's saying here is your suit, then you can't use it because because this is obviously not your suit, and it must be that he gave it to you a mistake, and therefore you cannot use it because we're not assuming that it was sold if he's trying to tell you it's your suit.